Hey, welcome back to the Baco Motorsports Power Hour. We're with the Auto Club Famoso Raceway segment. Got Blake Bowser here, and can't see this, but Blake sent me a photo on his way here. He's leaving the track, and this is big news for all the race fans and media covering the March meet here in a couple weeks. That is a portable cell tower truck, Verizon.
Provided by Verizon, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Big news.
Good for good for the vendors because they want to use their credit card machines, and obviously good for media people, yourself, and you can
5
basically
bars.
live stream.
Live stream, going to be fun times there.
Yeah, so big thanks to Verizon. They're coming out again. That's awesome.
And a pretty big show. I understand we've got a celebrity on the phone. We've got Gary Dencham, a big show driver whose son Steven drives in the Nostalgia circuit. How you doing, Gary?
I'm doing great. Yourself? You know, that Verizon tower sure makes life easy out there. All the years that we couldn't get any service and we had to send smoke signals up to communicate with anybody, that makes it nice.
Oh, yes, without a doubt. It'll be a big difference. The Hot Rod Reunion was difficult. The March meet is going to be great communication. You had quite a ride down at the Winter Nationals. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Do we have to?
Well, I think we'll talk about that a little bit in the response from the drag racing community.
Yeah, it's it was obviously a horrible crash, and you're not supposed to bump into things at over 200 miles an hour in those cars, and yet it's a real testament to the NHRA's safety safari, the Grant Downing, the builder of the car, DJ Safety, and all the safety equipment, and everything that Mike Fu does to be able to walk away from that thing virtually unscratched with the car being completely totaled.
Yeah, we were just watching some B-roll of the crash there, and apparently the chutes just didn't come out on that. So what were you thinking as you're going through there and you're not going to stop?
Yeah, it's being the optimist I am. I kept thinking, well, let's see, we're going to hit the sand, and I'm calculating in my mind, gee whiz, we got maybe a 5 or 10% chance of stopping in the sand before it hits the net, and maybe if it hits the net, it'll be soft enough. And what you're doing, being a silly racer that you are, is you're doing mental inventory in your head of what you got in the trailer, and hoping that the damage is light enough that it can be fixed or raced the next day.
And not much in the trailer, but apparently the NHRA racing community has come to your aid.
Yes, they have. I mean, to be honest with you, I had kind of been thinking the last year or two of maybe, quitting racing the big show car and just concentrating on my son's car in the Nostalgia program because, it's so great. That program that Blake and his dad and everybody has put on out at Bakersfield and across the United States with the Heritage Series is, it's just absolutely unbelievable drag racing. I mean, the show's terrific. The people are unbelievable. But, after that crash out there, I've been kind of mulling it over and thinking, why am I trying to butt heads with, the John Forces and Schumachers and Colettas of the world that got more money than God and 3 or 4 or 5 cars and make hundreds and hundreds of runs a year, which means thousands of runs per team, and have all the information that they need to go really, really fast. And I think that I've been very proud of my team all these years of being able to be competitive and on a shoestring budget. But if you look back about 3 years ago or 4 years ago, before they stabilized all the rules, we were able to go out and qualify 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 8th, 6th, all that sort of stuff on good weekends. And now it's gotten where we've got 13 of those cars that are, have all the information, all the parts, and they're really fast. And our car's fast too, but it's that one notch away from where they are. And you're kind of thinking, well, is it really worth it? And then after that crash, the way that the racing community and the fans responded was just, it brings tears to your eyes that the people that are willing to pitch in and lend a hand, all the way from my crew, willing to take a week of vacation from their families and come down here and work on the car for a week so we can try and get it ready for Las Vegas. And my wife drugged me in and made me read some of the 3,000 posts on Facebook the very first day of people wishing us well and hoping that we're going to come back and race again. And, how can you not do it when you get a response like that? It's just, you remember why you got into the sport. It is the people, it is the fans, it is the competitors, and we all want to win, don't get me wrong. But we're all a pretty big family out there.
Yeah, I think this incident kind of shows that. It almost brings you back to your roots, I would think, in that as you're talking about everybody's together and the support you're getting to get back onto the track.
Yeah, and there's no doubt. I mean, there's no way I'd be able to do it if I didn't get this support. And it's not a complaint, but all I've ever been is a school teacher, and now a retired school teacher. And, trying to race one of those cars on that kind of budget is obviously silly. But, the people that help us in the ways that they do, like Lawson Rock and Oil up there in Fresno, and Chris from St. George, and, Westford Freighters, and Charlie out of, Sioux Falls with, his company. It's just, it's fantastic. And then the fans themselves, I can't believe the number of people that come by and, wanting to give us $5, $10, $15, $20, $100 bill out at the racetrack. And you think, those people really care, and that's what makes this sport as great as it is. And then you get the people from the John Force, the Schumachers, everybody across the board that have called and offered help. I mean, heck, Jack Beckman's called 2 or 3 times to say, "I live close. I can come and wash parts." I mean, how can you ask for anything better than that?
Yeah, and I think when you roll into the pits and you're here next weekend for the Good Vibrations Motorsports March meet, you're going to find a lot of love as well. What keeps you coming up for this, and why the nostalgia craze?
Well, I think if you've been out there, you understand it. The electricity, the excitement that generates, for not only the older fans like myself, but so many of the newer fans that have heard stories about these cars, and now they get an opportunity to see them race, and actually race a quarter mile on nitro, which is, we don't do anymore. And I love the big show deal, don't get me wrong. I'm not putting down about it, but, you kind of look at them and they're fast, they're powerful, they're noisy, they fire over the roof, 10,000 horsepower. What can you say? But basically, they all look the same, and unfortunately, due to finances, they're all big billboards, and they don't have, Jungle Jim, Ed Ace, McCullough, the Hawaiian, the Blue Max. They don't have Teacher's Pet. They don't have those types of names that ring a bell with all the people from the past and all the new fans that we're getting because of it.
Yeah, we've got the up on a slide right now, the Teacher's Pet car, which is a replica of a car you drove here back in the day at the March meet.
Yeah, back in the early 70s, I had a car that was painted that same way and looked very much like it. And so when my son decided to get into this, don't ask me why he got that defective gene, but he did for me. And so he said, "Well, why don't we make something like your 1973 car, Dad?" And so this is what we ended up with.
You've ended up with that, and that's pretty true to, I think, what we call nostalgia funny car, and maybe we just ought to call them nitro funny cars or something. what the class was built around, and now there's been a lot of changes, a little controversy last year, and some pro mod type looking bodies, and they've kind of reined that in a little bit. But what's your thought on all the different bodies and the I guess the more aerodynamic look that now's taken over?
Well, I don't know what to say. I mean, unfortunately, we're all racers. We all want to win. I believe and it's just my personal opinion, I believe that NHRA should have put a little more controls on it. And if you look at it realistically, our car's really the only true period correct car out there. and if you look, I can prove that because I've had those cars. I ran in that era. I know, in my office wall in my garage, I have every car that I ever had since 1971. Yeah. And there's pictures of them, and you didn't see things like header cutouts, spill plates, wings that tie up top of the roof, 1-inch slips around the body, just even, side windows, any of those little things until the early 80s. And then NHRA kind of, let some of it slide, and it probably doesn't make a whole lot of difference in performance if a guy has a header cutout or doesn't have a header cutout. It isn't period correct, but, performance-wise probably doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of difference. But pretty soon you start adding those all up, and then, you have a few cars with all of the performance-enhancing things that they modified off of the bodies that were existable in the 70s. And now they got a little bit of an advantage. And then when you build one purposely for that, to try and be as fast and as quick as you possibly can. And trust me, that's racers. That's what they want to do, and I admire them for it. But you take a car like the one that we're talking about, and it has. You walk around it, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, and it's kind of cute. It's good looking. Does it belong where we're at? I'm not sure about that. But if you walk around it appears, it's a car that a John Force or a Schumacher would design to try and take advantage of every, eighth of an inch of the rule book, as far as what you can have on it. The angles, the narrow roofs, the laid-back windows, the lips around the bottom, the high deck, the spill plates, the opening in the back. There's not one thing that was missed. So you got to applaud them for doing a great job.
Yeah, and I guess the cat's out of the bag a little bit there, but it's going to be probably around 24 of these Nitro Funny cars here.
But you can win using Gary's car because he's the champ from last year, or Steven is. So you can win using that car. So I applaud them for that.
Well, thank you.
Applaud you for that. And we're going to look forward to seeing you up here and your son in the teacher's pet car, and we'll wish you luck.
I tell you, we're going to have so much fun. It's unbelievable. And, winning that last year, I guarantee you, rates every bit as equal as my win at the U.S. Nationals of the 50th anniversary. The March meet has had so much so much legend, so many, so much heritage to it that, it's something that rang in my ear as a kid, as a teenager in school. And I remember getting a big old fight with Mom and Dad to actually be able to drive over the grapevine and go watch the March meet, and, when I was like 16 years old. So, it's something that happens that you can't describe, and I think everybody's going to have a great time. They always do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks again, Gary. And we'll look forward, and maybe you can repeat.
I hope so. We're going to try, I guarantee you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay, so that's it, and we got the March meet coming up in
next week.
And so everything's ready. You got the really quickly. You've got the import face-offs.
Yeah, this Sunday coming up. So we'll be out there Saturday getting ready, and with that Sunday, and then we'll move everything out of the way for that, and make room for a bunch of rigs showing up on Tuesday at noon.
Tom Mock was out. Tom Mock was out there. Took a lot of photos in this Forever Young car.
They kind of found their groove out there this past weekend.
Got in it, got out of his car, got in that, and ran a 69, I think?
569.
At 248. So pretty impressive. Very clean run.
Now, I believe Rick is still in the Craig car. I think that was Brett Williamson.
Is that Brett Williamson?
Both brothers are driving now. So Rick's
Brett
in,
Williamson.
and
Rick
Brett.
was in his car. That was Brett Williamson.
Yeah, so they were pretty darn happy after last weekend there.
So pretty good weekend of testing out there at Famoso, and the tracks obviously.
It was in pretty good shape. They ran well.
Shape.
Yeah, we had 570s in funny cars and 560s in top fuel cars and dead on the index and a lot of gassers. So we're ready. Sorry, I went so late.
Hey, that's no problem. Gary's great calling in, and you've got that, and then you roll through the season. Everything's ready. The tower is good.
Yeah, we're gonna just pick up and go, and we'll get the rebuild going after the March meet. There's a pretty good race coming up, I think, forecast-wise, weather-wise. So we should be okay there, and we'll be able to take some of that revenue and put it back in the track.
Okay.
Again.
Have you come out with your full schedule yet, or?
It's all out, all up on autoclubfamosoraceway.com. Yeah.
How many Nitro shows?
Actually, that's not up there yet. That's part of our Heritage Series in September, so that'll be up in September, the second week after Labor Day.
Have the Saturday Night Nitro.
That's
show
correct.
Part of this.
That's correct. Yes. Yep.
So 500 race cars coming out, and it all starts.
They're all loading up,
and it all starts on Thursday.
That's correct.
Next Thursday, and runs through Sunday about 5 o'clock.
Yeah. Should be a good weekend.
Should be. Okay. Thanks for coming in, Blake.
You bet.
We'll see you.
Thanks.